It's car con carne. Let's eat in the car. It's car con carne. And now here's the star of our show, James Van Alstyne.
Let's not press our luck here. It's car con carne. Let's not eat in the car. It's car con carne. Now here's the guest star of the show, Josh Caterer. Been waiting for that.
I could have and should have done a live version of.
You've done it before. I don't want to ask. I don't want to ask you. You just did that on episode 1000.
All right.
No,
it's all these people. I'm on this show so much. These people are sick of me and my little antics.
Never. This is appearance number 14 on Car Con Carne. Was that a surprise?
Does this again put me ahead of my competitors?
Oh, yes.
Okay, great.
You've pulled ahead. Josh Caterer of Smoking Popes returning to Car Con Carne the 14th time. Car Con Carne is sponsored by Easy Automation. Are you looking to transform your home, office, or business into a smart, seamlessly connected space? Easy Automation is a local business headquartered in nearby and scenic Aurora, Illinois, that delivers custom automation solutions tailored to your lifestyle.
Scenic.
It is
beautiful.
bucolic, some may say. Mm-hmm. Whether you're upgrading your home entertainment, streamlining your office tech, or enhancing the atmosphere in your restaurant or sports bar, they've got you covered. Their expert team designs and installs personalized systems from smart lighting and climate control to audio-video distribution and robust Wi-Fi networks, all managed through an intuitive app on your favorite device. Easy Automation makes technology work for you effortlessly, reliably, and always with your satisfaction guaranteed. Visit easy-automation.net or call my guy Dan at 630-730-3728 and take control of your environment today. Recording today at Noon Whistle Brewing Lombard, the Brew Pub, 800 East Roosevelt Road in Lombard, noonwhistlebrewing.com. I love this place. I just recorded here a little while ago. We are in the barrel room. As you can see, Josh, there are barrels behind us.
I noticed.
And Noon Whistle would like to offer a 20% discount on barrel room rental fees. This is a great place, great space for private gatherings, parties, celebrations. It feels wonderful in here. As Josh said when he walked in, it's vibey.
It's vibey. That was the exact word I used.
Monday through Thursday until November 2025. Just mention me, James Van Alstyne, or the Car Con Carne podcast when you book your rental for 20% off. Reach out to Stephanie at noonwhistlebrewing.com or info@noonwhistlebrewing.com. Those email addresses are on the screen right now. Or go to the website and click on events for more information. Again, have a party here. Maybe end of summer party, Labor Day party, plan ahead, Dog Days of August party, Halloween party.
Bar mitzvah?
A bar or bat?
Or bat mitzvah.
A communion. A quinceanera. Whatever you want to do. You can do it here in the barrel room for 20% off. Just mention me or Car Con Carne. So, Smoking Popes, you just came off the road. You were touring with Bayside. Mm-hmm. I've been wanting to talk to you since this new album came out. Lovely Stuff came out a couple months ago. And I had to wait till you're off the road. And that said, the next Chicago appearance is Riot Fest.
Yes, it is.
They kind of owe you after the last appearance.
Yeah, we got rained out last time.
We did.
And we were hoping that, we would come back strong. And the fact that we get to come back and do an album play in its entirety is pretty cool. I think it's going to be a fun set. And the day that we're playing, it's a pretty strong bill.
It's
that day.
All 3 days are pretty.
Yeah, this is a good year for Riot Fest.
This is a great year for Riot Fest. So, Lovely Stuff. I figured we don't often get a new Smoking Popes album. It's been 7 years since the last one. Mm-hmm. It's a very rare opportunity to sit down and actually go track by track through an album with you.
It's a big commitment.
It's a big commitment. Well, it's 10 songs. 10 songs is really the perfect length for an album, isn't it?
I think
that's the prescribed amount. If you're going to put out an album, that's 5 songs per album side.
According to Willie Nelson, I saw an interview with him where he said, he said an album is 10 songs. In his mind, that's what a full length album is and should be.
So, 7 years since Into the Agony, you've got 10 songs here on Lovely Stuff. Did you have more going into the recording, more songs, or did you just have these 10? You thought, this is it, this is what we're going to run with?
As a matter of fact, we didn't even have the 10 when we started the recording process. I think we had 3 songs when we started.
So when you did the pre-release singles, those were just kind of standalone, like songs in search of an album?
We knew that an album was coming. I could feel it percolating within. And we were in the process of writing more stuff. I mean, I had half-baked demos and things that I was working on. But I hadn't completed all 10 songs by the time we started. But it had been long enough. 7 years is a long time. Although when I started writing those songs, it had been, I think, 5 years. It took 2 years to complete the writing and recording process for this album, which it has never taken that long before.
I've got to say, this sounds like Smoking Popes, but I was saying to a mutual friend recently, you're doing a lot of cool things here, and I think it's all subtle enough that maybe you're not even getting enough credit for it. But I think this is a more mature and
like
sophisticated.
What?
I think the production's bigger than ever before. I think we'll talk about the songs as we go through them.
Since you've mentioned the production, I got to give props to Jamie Wolford, who mixed the album. He also mixed Into the Agony, and the man is a genius, and he just he has the Midas touch.
It just sounds full.
He makes things sound like they've been sprinkled with gold dust.
Another way I think things are different now, things have changed. Smoking Popes is not a band known for optimistic album titles.
Right.
Get Fired, Born to Quit. And when you see them back to back, it's pretty obvious. Destination Failure, The Party's Over, Stay Down. This is only a test. It's kind of an outlier.
It's kind of neutral.
Yeah, and then Into the Agony. Here we have lovely stuff. And there's a hearty sense of optimism from start to finish on this. This is an album about love.
Yeah, I don't know how to explain it. I guess I feel like I should apologize for that. I feel like I've let everyone down.
Not at all. Is this like a midlife course correction?
I do feel like it's a kind of a stage of life, taking stock of things and sort of embracing a dogged determination to prevail, and I got the word Excelsior tattooed on my arm, which literally means ever upward.
The only reason I know that word is because I read Marvel comic books as a kid. That's what Stan Lee would sign off with. Excelsior, true believer.
Yeah, that was his motto. Mm-hmm. I was more inspired by Silver Linings Playbook.
There you go. And when I say the album focuses on love, it's love for companions, love for yourself, like appreciating who you are, where you're at, and how you got there. I pick up on those themes.
Yeah. I feel like I am leaning into those themes as a person the older I get. There's something kind of cute about being all dark and pessimistic, in your 20s and 30s, when you feel that the world is your oyster and you're kind of, you're like invincible. You have that invincibility of youth. But you move forward in life and you sense the tenuous and fleeting nature of everything, and it either causes you to downward spiral, or you kind of embrace the splendor of it all and develop a kind of sense of gratitude for what you've got, and a determination to kind of hang on to it and savor it.
I want to go back to the recklessness of youth topic as we track through the album, because, of course, there is Young and Dumb, which I think addresses a lot of that. But some of the stuff you're talking about is right there in the first song, Golden Moment, right out of the gate, full speed ahead, guitars, drums, bass, full propulsive energy for the first track. Like, I'm a fan of the way tracks are laid out on an album. I'm a fan of that journey from start to finish. I think you threaded a journey through here from the start into how you ended the album, which we'll get to. But this is intentional. What I love most about this, like I said, it's full speed ahead. The band's all in. Your vocals are almost in defiance of the speed of the song. There's almost like a contrast between how you pull out the vocals there.
There's a contrast, not only tempo-wise, because there's a forward propulsion in the music and a slow, elongated croon to the vocal, which one could argue is the signature characteristic that propelled the Smoking Popes to fame in the 90s.
I think that's what people love about you, yeah.
So this isn't an attempt to recapitulate that, but it's just part of the DNA of who I am as a singer-songwriter. But I feel like that tension is there musically in this song in another way, which for me this is kind of the hook of the song, which is that there are points where the note in the melody that's being sung doesn't go with the chord that's being played. I don't know if you...
That's kind of what I was trying to describe. It's like two different things are happening, musically and vocally.
Yeah, because I'm alternating between these two chords, a B and an E, but the note that I'm singing is an E flat, and if I just hang on that, every time I'm hitting the E chord, singing an E flat, there's this dissonance that kind of happens, which seemed sonically humorous to me as I was writing the song, and I loved that feeling just to sort of marinate in that dissonance, and I thought it created a cool effect, and so we kind of just embraced it and had the song. Like, otherwise I think the song is fairly simple. There's not that many chords in it, but I like to throw in one thing that seems counterintuitive in every song.
I love it. So, in the blink of an eye, Joey Jardinera, former guest, a beloved favorite of Car Con Carne, brought in 2 pizzas from Noon Whistle. Josh, you went cheeseless. You've got sausage and mushroom, classic ingredients.
Yes, and it's delicious.
And I went with truly one of my favorite pizzas in the world. What's this technically called?
So that's like our house special.
The house special.
Yep.
It's just beef and jardinera. It is outstanding. I love this so much. And the perfect, like, thin crust, a cracker crust, cooked perfectly. Thank you, Joey Jardinera. Thank you. Noon Whistle Brewing.
Yes, thank you.
All right, so we talked about golden moments, treasuring the moment we're in. Life can be beautiful when you're in love with life itself. There's an optimism. All right, so let's move down the album. Again, the new album is lovely stuff. Fox River Dream, offering the biggest lyrical surprise on the album. And I think you know exactly what I'm going to say. So far I'm all in. Like, we were the only ones alive in a world of Walking Dead. The only way we could survive was by clinging together. Desperate, we melted into one. Like Jeff Goldblum and The Fly. Unexpected.
Right. In case at that moment people are thinking, we melted into one.
Like Brundlefly.
In what way? Like, what does that look like? What do you mean melted into one? Well, let me just clear that up for you. You ever see The Fly starring Jeff Goldblum?
1986, David Cronenberg. Come on.
That's what I mean.
The chorus vocals on this song are a nice touch, too. Very smooth.
With our good friend, Mr. Jason Narducci.
Is that why? I didn't realize that was him. Well, of course it makes sense.
He comes in on the second chorus and provides that.
Of course the chorus vocals sound great. It's Jason Narducci.
He's a professional.
He's one of my favorite voices in the city.
Yeah.
Like decades running. That's awesome.
Oh, yeah. It seemed like a perfect job for Narducci. This is bread and butter to do these kind of vocals.
It is. Racine, Duval song. Brought back to life for the Smoking Popes.
Yes. Oh, so we've moved on from Fox River Dream.
Oh, yeah. We can go back to Fox River Dream.
I only want to say that I felt it was important that the Fox River should be immortalized in song.
At last. It balances out the Wisconsin.
Right. We do have a lot of Wisconsin references, but the Fox River is a body of water that has been a consistent presence in my life since I was a kid, because I grew up in Carpentersville, I've always been a walking distance from the Fox River. In Carpentersville, I was on Kings Road, like a half a block down from Dundee Crown High School, and if you just went a little bit past Dundee Crown down the hill, there's the Fox River. Then eventually, then we lived in Lake in the Hills for a little while. We were maybe like a 20-minute walk from the Fox, but we went over there all the time because anytime you wanted to go to Spring Hill Mall, you had to go over to Route 31 and go south, and that 31 weaves its way next to the Fox the whole time. And of course, the Texan is there.
Which we went there for Carquin Carney many years ago.
And we currently live in Aurora, still walking distance from the Fox.
You can't quit it.
Like, it's just been this big comforting presence in my life. Like, I don't think I can ever... Like, we did move away for a while, but I just felt something was wrong. And I had to come back. I need to be near the Fox River. And it was time that it had its own song.
I'm floating downstream into the arms of my Fox River dream.
Yeah.
There it is. All right, so Racine, Duvall song. Besides fuller sounding production than the original might have had, it doesn't seem like you messed with this one that much.
Not too much.
What's different with the Smoking Popes version?
I feel like this version is actually a couple BPMs slower than the Duvall version.
Okay.
Which seems odd that you would make it slower, but it felt right. We deliberated over this in the studio as to where to set the click on this one. And we wanted it, in theory, to be at least as fast as the original. But it just felt more natural to actually slow it down a couple of clicks. And that felt right in the pocket for us. And I think the big difference is in some of the guitar work. Eli is bringing some nuance to the verses and doing some real pretty guitar work there that I think takes the song up a notch. But it's not that we wanted to completely revamp the song. It's that we wanted to bring Duvall material into Pope's world, because Duvall, you're familiar with it, but it is actually pretty obscure. Not that many people know about the Volume and Density album.
Well, Duvall existed when Smoking Popes were on hiatus, or
yes,
as far as we were all concerned, done,
mm-hmm.
At the beginning of the 21st century. When you wrote it in your head, did it feel like a Smoking Popes song? Or did you not even... were you so compartmentalized in Duvall it didn't even register as a Popes textured song?
I wasn't thinking that it would eventually be a Pope song, or that it needed to sound like the Smoking Popes. Duvall was its own thing. So I was just writing it for Duvall. But, if you listen to that album, it's pretty popesy.
Yeah, it is. You could draw a pretty straight line from band to band.
Yeah. But I didn't want all those songs to be lost to the tide of where,
It deserved a second chance.
Yeah. So
here's a logistic question I've wondered now for like 2 decades. Is there actually a train that goes from here to Racine?
The train goes to Kenosha.
Right, that's where Metra wraps up.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you'd have to take a bus to Racine from Kenosha?
Well, the way that it would work is that I would get off at Kenosha, and the girl in question, who is now my wife, we were just dating back then, but she would pick me up at the train station in Kenosha, and we would drive to Racine.
That makes sense. All right. I love
she
the
is
background
waiting
on it.
for me at the station. She is beautiful.
It's where your true love stays.
Yeah, she lived there. This is all true stuff.
Never Gonna Break. Here's your song of resilience and some of the themes we were talking about at the start of the interview.
This is the first song, unless you count Racine, which technically I guess is in a different category. But of the other songs, this is the first song for this album that I wrote. This is a song that kind of launched the batch of songs. It got the juices flowing. I hadn't written a Pope song in, I don't know, a couple of years, however long it had been since we did the last album. But I was, and I'm trying to, I don't know how far I should go into the story, but I was commissioned to write this song by a film director named Joselito Celdera,
Okay.
who wanted it for an independent film that he's making. And that film is still to be made. I think it looks good for sometime later this year that they're going to start
Awesome.
filming. But I had a conversation with Joselito, and he sort of talked to me about the main character. And he didn't give me specifics like, here are words or phrases that you should use, or he didn't have a title or anything. He just talked to me about the main character and what kind of the struggle was there as a young woman who is an artist, a musician, who has, dreams of kind of going places creatively, but feels inhibited by certain fears and circumstances in her life. And we had a conversation about that, and I just took some notes and got some ideas and wrote this song based on my concept of that character as it was described to me by Joselito.
I love that. Now, when you say this was the first song you wrote that would become part of this album, during that down period, who was the most insistent? Like, we should really think about doing new material. Was it you? Was it your brothers? Was it Mike Fellamley?
No, those guys have never been insistent. I think, the way that it has worked is that we do an album, we put it out, we do some touring, and then that tour cycle kind of ends and things kind of slow down. And then those guys always just kind of wait to see if I'm going to start writing any more songs or not. And then usually I just sort of shuffle my feet for a couple years, and then something will trigger a batch of songs. Like that happened with This Is Only a Test, I remember. I hadn't written songs in a long time, but I got an idea for that, and I wrote like 5 songs in a week, and I had half the album. So like something will just like trigger.
You can't force it.
You can't force it, but you also can't stop it when it starts happening.
Right.
And to be commissioned to write this song for the film that will eventually be released, and this song will be part of it. But that sort of opened a floodgate. That it wasn't commissioned as a Smoking Pope song, really. It was like he was hiring me to contribute just as Josh Caterer to the score of this movie. But then the song ended up feeling so popesy to me that I was like, oh yeah, I'll just keep going. I'll keep pulling this thread, and we wound up with an album's worth of stuff.
I love it. Again, lovely stuff is the album. To this very day, it's a mid-tempo song on the album, like halfway through the album. One of the things I love on this, it has that big, almost classic rock-sounding guitar solo on it.
Yeah, there needed to be at least one wankery solo on this album.
I love it, though. And then it gets right into one of those like iconic Smoking Popes breakdowns. Like there are great elements to this song.
Oh. Well, thanks. This song I didn't realize until after I had written it, but I think I may have kind of stolen the chord pattern from a song by Bread.
They'll never know.
They'll never know. I doubt that any of them are going to listen to this album.
Madison. This is what preceded the album. This is, for a lot of us, our entry point into the new album. Tell me about this song.
That was the first single, if you don't count Don't You Want Me,
right?
Which everybody thought was going to be on the album, but which is not.
So I love the video
for Don't You Want Me.
Oh yeah,
that was so fun to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Deanna is just a delight.
Deanna from Sincere Engineer, really the MVP of Midwest music.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she wins. She wins Midwest music. So, yeah, Madison was the first single, though, of songs that wound up on the album. At that point, we had a couple of songs recorded, or I can't remember. Maybe we just had 2 or 3 songs demoed, and we were trying to decide which of them we should record and release as the first single. And that one, we had a few songs, and we played them for friends and loved ones, and they all seemed to say Madison. That's you should lead with Madison, because it it's a good song, it's catchy, but that it feels somehow like classic popes, but with like one step forward. With a classic popes with a twist. So it like sort of anchors to the familiar, but with and I like that twist that people, I assume, were talking about, was the way that in the verses of the song we go halftime and then there's this kind of syncopated chord emphasis, which is something that we hadn't done before. And again, after the song was already written and recorded, I sort of realized that I may have stolen that from that song, which I think is by the Eagles. It feels more like a Joe Walsh solo, but it's the one at the end of the Warriors.
In the City.
Yeah.
Yeah. Classic.
It goes down, down. Like, so that whole syncopation emphasis hit is Joe Walsh through and through.
See, you're going to make me jump around, because when you mention the classic Pope sound, I hear that on When the Sun Goes Down. As I was listening to these 10 songs, I was trying to figure out what could be an entry point for someone who hasn't listened to the Smoking Pope since Born to Quit. And I thought that was the most throwbacky of the songs on the collection.
You may be right.
It's guitar-drenched, full of melody.
It's whimsical.
There's some whimsy, some 90s Pope's whimsy on that. Young and Dumb. I hinted toward this in the beginning. Just looking at the title, as I was tracking through the album for my first time, I was expecting it to be a big, riffy, anthemic song. I got what I was expecting on this. And this is about that sense of invulnerability you have when you're young. I had it. You had it.
Yes. I had it in spades, baby.
Were you young and dumb?
Yeah. Like, aren't we all? Just sort of living like you're not gonna die someday. And all of the stupidity attached to that sort of point of view.
Dumb chances taken. Misbehaving with friends, egging each other on.
Completely wrong priorities in life.
Yes. Young and dumb.
And so it was important for me to get my kids to sing on that. That is, both of my children doing backup vocals. My daughter sings harmony on all the choruses, and then my son comes in with that lower harmony on the end, the big anthemic ending part.
Were you surprised that your kids gravitated toward music? Did you try to steer them away from music?
I didn't try to steer them toward it or away from it. I'm glad, though, that so far neither of them have decided to adopt it as a career. That's fair. It's all fun and games for now, and that's where it should. It's a hard row to hoe if you're going to try to do that for a living.
Staying on the topic of the song, this speaks to what you were just saying. Meanwhile, the toll of the funeral bell is always for someone else, never for us. Never for us. It just, you feel like I'm 25. Like that, I've got my whole life ahead of me. You don't even think about consequence or anything like that. We all have to go through it. It's a rite of passage.
Right. And you take a lot of things for granted, and you can look back later and see that these certain decisions were made with this underlying premise that everything was going to be fine, and it's all going to work out. And you're like, but I didn't know that.
Right.
And I've seen enough of life now to see that like things don't always work out in the end. So I don't know, which I guess makes me all the more grateful for that which I have, given the stupidity of some of my earlier decisions.
Here we are eating pizza at Noon Whistle in Lombard at the Brew Pub on Roosevelt.
Yes. And I have this family, and I've been married to the same wonderful woman for 30 years now, over 30 years. And, you know, even though it seemed like, you know, I was doing my best to try to erode the fabric of that relationship along the way at certain points. But, you know, we hung in there, and here we are. And
that's awesome.
Yeah.
You Will Always Have My Heart. Another song that to me challenges us to live in the moment. The interesting thing about this, was this a Mike Fellamley song?
It was. With a different title. Excuse me, I'm chewing.
Oh, good. So it's an acoustic song on the album. Definitely a tempo shift.
Mike's version is not acoustic. It's on a solo album that he put out. And the name of the song, as he wrote it, is called The Drive Home. And it's a great song. Like, his version of the song is just great. Like, my initial impulse maybe just the Pope should just do that song. You know, full bore Pope's energy, just keep it as is and everything. But there was, I don't know, there was a moment where I was listening to the song, and the first line, as he wrote it, on the drive home, I was thinking. So that's his line, and like my thoughts just kind of veered off, and I started remembering certain things from my own life, and I just got a different concept of what the lyrics would be communicating if that was my first line. But I was taking it to a place that was more personal to me than to him. So the chord pattern, the melody, some of the lyrics, those are Mike's, with the exception of the chorus, which I completely wrote a new chorus for the song. And I did an acoustic demo of this new version of it and sent it to Mike and said, hey, what would you think about kind of a revised version of your song? I don't want to, like, you know, step on your toes.
Right.
And he was like, no, this is great. But he was like, I've listened to this, you know, demo a few times, and I think it might really work as an acoustic song. Because I was saying,
That was a great call.
here's a demo, like, let's work on like a full band arrangement of it that maybe would be similar to the one you did on your album. But he was like, no, I think it works as an acoustic song. And it also was his idea to put strings on it. The strings for that song were recorded at Million Yen in Chicago, and this session, I'll never forget this, because they did a few tracks. It was just a violin and a cello, but then they each did 3 tracks, and so it kind of filled out. And they did multi-track of a certain part, and then they did like sort of a harmony part. So it was 2 people playing what effectively is like an orchestra. But when I heard it after they had laid all those tracks down, and you know, Andy Gerber pulled it up and just said, "Here's what we've got," like I actually teared up a little, which just at how lovely it sounded, and to have been part of something that had that kind of tenderness to it.
Well, the journey that song took from Mike to that, like, what?
Yeah, it all seemed so kind of beautiful to me. This collaboration of something that he wrote years ago, and now I'm contributing to it, and The strings part actually was written by a friend of ours in a band called the Dreaded Laramie, and so there was a lot of interested parties, a lot of moving parts to the song. It was a collaborative effort, but the end result, and it was just something that I felt didn't sound quite like anything the Popes had done before. We've never had that kind of orchestration on a song, and I was just really proud of it. And I may have shed one single tear that rolled down my left cheek in the studio as I heard it.
It is lovely stuff as advertised, and you could have ended the album with that. It would have been a perfectly appropriate song to end the album with. I think you went one step further and ended with the perfect song. It's a cover. We talked about the journey that the track listing takes out of the gate to closing with Over the Rainbow, the timeless Wizard of Oz classic, which I know you've done standards, your solo stuff, you belt out standards. This still feels courageous to me to do a Judy Garland song.
It felt courageous to me to attempt it, only because Judy Garland is, I think, the greatest singer of all time. Her voice is just untouchable. And so we've covered some Judy stuff before on our album The Party's Over. Zing Went the Strings of My Heart is a Judy song. She also has done a version of The Stormy Weather that kind of inspired our version of it. But that didn't seem as much like property of Judy Garland as this song does.
Exactly.
So like, this is a song that no matter who hears it, instantly they're going to compare it to Judy's version, and there's no way that me or anyone else could measure up to her version. So it wasn't an attempt to say that we could outdo her in any sense, but just a hopefully truly reverent homage to her as a performer, and also just to the songwriting, the kind of profound simplicity of the words and melody, the way that those are put together, where it's like greater than the sum of its parts. Like, there is something so majestic about the way the song is written. And we tried, in the way that we sort of built the instrumentation, to reflect that, like where it starts very, very personally, very intimately.
It starts with you, and then the band comes in and like turbocharges everything.
Comes in and hopefully had some breadth to the way that it sounds. I mean, I don't know. I was self-conscious about trying to do that, but I did my best and let the chips fall where they may. And
no, it sounds great, and we talked about the sense of optimism and hopefulness. I mean, there's no better way to wrap up, and I mean that ties everything up, doesn't it? That sense of optimism and positivity.
Yeah, it seemed really fitting to add this to the album. It was a song that we, I think I had always been a little reticent to try that cover, even though the Popes sort of have a history of doing old show tunes and things, but it seemed like that one was maybe too on the nose or something.
Yeah.
So I was kind of shied away from it. But just over the last couple of years, we attempted it at some shows as an encore song. Like, we would come out and open the encore with that, and it just worked. It seemed to have such an impact on audiences when we would do that I just filed that away. I was like, I think we might have to record this, and then it might make the perfect closing song for this album.
As you look at this 10-song collection that was 7 years in the making, well, not even in the making, just it took 7 years to get there, are you happy?
I'm very happy with it. Yeah. And yes, I know. I always think that our new album is the best one we've ever done. But they can't all be the best album that we've ever done.
I love your work. I think there's a strong case to be made for this.
I'm just happy when we make an album and the consensus seems to be that it doesn't suck. The objective always is to make one that's at least good enough where you get to make another album after that.
I think of a contemporary of yours, Scott Lucas, Local H. You don't sound a thing like Local H, but similarly, like, he keeps writing better albums, too. Like, I think, again, different tracks, different sounding bands, but you're both on these trajectories where you keep improving on, like, you learn stuff through the years and you keep adding to.
What's his secret, do you think?
Good, clean living.
Good.
So, all right, lovely stuff. It is out now. It is wonderful.
Thank you.
It sucks to wait 7 years for New Smoking Popes, but there was a big payoff at the end of it.
Maybe we can reduce that to maybe only 5 years till the next Popes album?
Perfect. All right, so we will see you next at Riot Fest in September on stage.
Mm-hmm.
And I swear to God, if it rains, they're bumping everyone but you this year.
Well, hopefully
if you're
they
the only band that plays that day,
yeah.
That's the way it has to be.
I don't know. Maybe if we get rained out, we'll do like one of those Facebook Live sessions, like just like in COVID.
I got to tell you, you did a podcast with me over the pandemic. I have PTSD from. I don't want to ever do a Zoom interview ever again.
Yeah.
Like, even when I see, and I realize a lot of podcasts use Zoom or different platforms, StreamYard, to record interviews. When I see that 2-box display, I don't want to watch it. Like, that was just to me, it's so emblematic of that time. I don't want to go back to that.
That's how I feel too, and just it's so great to whatever droplets are coming from you, just bring them on, man. I'm ready for it.
What do you mean? What does that mean?
That's why we were not being around each other during COVID, because of the little
Am I perspiring?
Particulates.
It is a little warm in here.
Apparently, we're all spewing forth this cloud of moisture toward each other.
Cloud of Moisture would have been a Dark Popes album title, too.
That's the next one right there.
Or at least an EP.
Dark Cloud of Moisture.
Yeah, why don't you workshop that with the guys?
Okay.
See what Matt thinks.
I'll get on it.
Okay. Josh Caterer, I adore you. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you for having me.
And Joey Jardinera, the silent partner.
How far ahead of Daryl am I then?
I need to crunch the numbers.
And Daryl and Dennis are always nipping at my heels.
I got to be honest, I'm recording with Daryl tomorrow.
Well, let's do 2 episodes tonight, just to...
Too much editing. We'll do this again, though, for sure.
Okay.
Josh, thank you.
Thank you.
Joey Jardinera sitting in the background enjoying a cold Noon Whistle beer. Thank you for the hospitality. We love being here in the Barrel Room.
Love you guys.
The Donkey Kong space. This is great.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's brought Josh back in with that one. All right, thank you, guys. Thank you for listening and watching.